Just upper body, you can put the index finger on top and try to drop your elbows without shortening your arms. So it starts to pull through here. You feel? This is mainly upper body, but later you can connect it to lower body too. Making this. If you had to touch two walls, you wouldn't want to take your fingers off the walls, but you have to drop the elbows. Or even just dropping the wrists as the first step. And then from there, dropping the elbows. And then start to feel the connection. First connection to feel, because it's the easiest, is between these fingers going across your chest to the fingers on the other side. Right? And then you move with that. Move that. It'll be like pulling a rope back and forth. Right? Feel it move. You're learning to feel how you're working inside of the sphere created by your feet, the width of your feet. You're working within that scope. Right? Bring it. And then coming up, bring it, and bringing that center over to this leg, or to this shoulder, hip, and stretch until it pulls, just, and pulling up, and move it, and move, right? And coming down, center, and pull back chin, and again move. And when you do this, try not to lean. You want this to pull, so it makes it a little harder, but you make it. And move, and come back. Move. Move. Pull. Back. Come back, pull the chin back, feel the roundness. Bring it up. Stretch, pull this. And coming back. And coming. And pull up. Stretching the spine up, coccyx down, and then open. Open out. Stretch as much as you can. Then relax the shoulders. Head rises up. And coming down. Chin back. Move. This is a 10. Coming back. This is a Jin. Person. And Chi is feet, legs. Come back. And back. And pull. Right, let this pull. Forward. Maximum extension. Don't try to do it with your arm. Make it physically pull. Pull on your hip. Pull on that opposite hip. And still keeping, you're in this for this one, you're keeping your focus straight ahead, and you're in between your 2 feet. Move. Move. Feel the pulling.
and pulling from this across the chest to the opposite side. Feel like pulling a rope here. Then bring pulling with your back, pull on the elbows, comes down. So you still have a kind of mental tension from your elbow across the chest over to the other elbow. This is not physical tension. Right? Everything is relaxed, but you have mental tension. Mental tension is, you can say, intent. Right? The moving. Some people call ki, same thing. Right? So let's take again, pull with your back. And this is the same, this small, larger place, this small, move. So creating this yoke. Here, open, and move. Right? Then pulling, move, and stretch. Pulling. This is pulling diagonal. Here, this way. So when you come here, don't try to balance. It's not balancing. This is extending, pulling this vertical line. So you're trying to balance, you look like this, right? Instead, you're pulling this line, pulling it up, pulling. Then pull the other one from here and move. And don't straighten your legs. This stays like a ball. Right? So move, pull, establish the vertical. Move, and come down. Move. Chin back. Just make it straight. Feel like a straight line in back, straight line in front. Move. Coming. And vertical stretch. And move. The connectivity. So the most basic is a physical connectivity. The physical means the fascia mostly. So you're coming, stretch this line from your opposite arm, opposite leg. This arm pulls this leg up. The move, pull up. Move. And keep that form as you come down. Boom. Move. This kind of exercise you need to do all the time, so you start to feel the connectivity in your body. Move. Stretch, move. Move. So you feel this stretching. It's the same as stretching, pulling this to this side. Right? Pulling up. Pulling up. Pulling up. Right? So it's not balancing. It's lifting, pulling that, pulling. Feel full pulling the fascia. And the full version is coming and pulling, pull. And keep the same shape. Don't straighten out your legs. Keep the same shape when you come down. You move, pull it up, pull. Keep the same shape and come boom to the center. When I pull out from my center, right, I'm pulling with the forearm and the fingers, but I'm pulling through all of this. Pulling through it. So this remains kind of, I would like you to think of it as independent from your forearms. This is a unit of something, and this is totally different. It's free. So when you're stretching, and you reach out, make sure you're pulling with your fingers, and that pulling is rotating. It's a spiral. It's a spiral opening up. When you come back down, it's pulling from the sternum towards your shoulders, opening in that way. Moving, round and back, opening, stretching, and pulling. And then we take it to here, and we go to the shko, spiraling up and pulling and move. Right? Let that form come down, boom, and spiraling up the other side. What I'm really concerned with here is that tonight what I'm going to put all the emphasis on is that you're getting this feeling of pulling with the turning of the hand. Make sure you're pulling with your fingers, and that pulling is rotating. It's a spiral. It's a spiral opening up. When you come back down, it's pulling from the sternum towards your shoulders, opening in that way. Moving, round and back, opening, stretching, and pulling. And then we take it to here, and we go to the skull, spiraling up and pulling and move. Right? Let that form come down, boom, and spiraling up the other side. What I'm really concerned with here is that don't think about just this area. You always think you're pulling with your fingers. You're pulling on this through here. You're pulling all of this tissue. Right? And you're moving. Reach out. Down. Stretch, pulling through. And when you come down, you're pulling this tissue from the chest, expanding outward from the sternum. And then coming and move. And again, pulling the tissue. And come down. Pull. This is probably considered traditionally one of the most important exercises. Every art does it because it's not about balance. It's because you're pulling these tissues right here. So when you open up, moving, pulling, you're pulling on all of this. You're pulling through it. When you come down, you're pulling here and opening. Moving. And that same thing now with the coming and moving. And stretch. And bring it down. Right? And the idea here, when you come, you're pulling this line to this leg and you're pulling this one up. When you come down, keep that shape so you bounce right off it. Right? Don't try to balance and come down comfortably. Come down and land on that. And if you really do that, you'll probably slide a little. You're coming here. And coming.